What if you could cut your cost of living in half and live near a beautiful warm ocean without giving up safety or convenience? You will have neighbors who wave from their doorsteps, and the government might even pay you to move there. Well, there is such a place, and I am going to tell you how you can make it a reality. Today, I'm going to show you how you can live in Greece for a fraction of what you're paying now in the United States. Welcome back to Retire Without Borders, the channel where I uncover the smartest, safest, and most affordable places in the world for Americans to retire abroad. Make sure you subscribe to Retire Without Borders for more guides on how to live your best life overseas. So, in the United States, the average retired couple spends around $4,800 per month. In Greece, however, an American retired couple can live comfortably on just $2,000 a month. Yes, $2,000. That's less than half of what it costs to live in most overcrowded US cities, where you have to compete just for breathing space. And unlike many so-called cheap destinations, Greece combines that affordability with world-class culture. With Greece's new digital nomad and retirement visas, Americans are moving here faster than ever. Greece isn't just a postcard. It's one of the most affordable and welcoming places in Europe for Americans looking to retire abroad. And just so you know, they even have a small island offering free housing and a monthly allowance for anyone willing to call it home. I'll get to that in a minute. Let's start with something simple and go over what it costs to live in Greece as a retiree. In Greece, that same $4,000 lifestyle you're paying for in the USA can cost as little as $2,000 a month. If you move to smaller towns, like Corfu or Thessaloniki, that $2,000 will be even less. Groceries, like fresh produce, bread, olive oil, and local cheese, will run you roughly $250 a month for two people. A meal for two with wine is often $20 to $25. And that's at a restaurant with a view. Your dining out is covered. A private doctor's visit may cost you around $40. Prescription costs are typically half of what you'd pay in the States. Add it all up, and you can live comfortably, even elegantly, in Greece for 40 to 50% less than back home. And unlike many so-called cheap destinations, Greece combines that affordability with world-class culture, Mediterranean safety, and one of the lowest violent crime rates in Europe. Add to this the fact that you never have to shovel snow for months at a time, and Greece becomes even more attractive. So, I've convinced you that retiring to Greece is a possibility. Where are American retirees moving? Greece has hundreds of islands, and each offers a different rhythm of life. But 5 regions in particular have become favorites among retirees from the US, Europe, and beyond. I'll start with Crete, the island within an island, with nearly 650,000 residents and many expats in towns like Chania and Heraklion. Crete offers the perfect balance of history, healthcare, and modern living. Many retirees choose it for its reliable hospitals, mild winters, and close-knit English-speaking communities. Far to the southeast, Rhodes basks in over 300 days of sunshine each year. With around 125,000 people and a small but growing expat population, Rhodes blends affordability with a resort-like lifestyle. Just 2 hours southwest of Athens, Nafplio sits on the Peloponnese coast. It is a picturesque town of Venetian architecture and seafront cafes. It's popular with both Greeks and expats for its safety, charm, and walkability. South of Nafplio lies Kalamata, a relaxed city famous for its olives, beaches, and mountains. It's home to about 70,000 residents, with a modest but steady expat community. Retirees love Kalamata for its low cost of living, housing often 30–40% cheaper than on the islands, and its easy access to healthcare, markets, and flights to Athens, the largest city in Greece and your gateway to the United States. And speaking of Athens, let's take a look there. For those who want proximity to world-class hospitals, airports, and city amenities, the Athens suburbs offer the best of both worlds. Finally, as I mentioned, There's one island that almost no one's heard of, one that isn't trying to attract tourists, but families and retirees to help it survive. And that is the island of Antikythera, a place with one bakery, one cafe, one church, and a handful of families keeping an entire island alive. That's Antikythera. Located between Crete and the Peloponnese, Antikythera is home to fewer than 50 full-time residents, and the Greek government might even pay you to live there. If you haven't yet, watch my video on 10 islands that will pay you to move there. Antikythera is number 1 on that list. Now, on to lifestyle. There's something special about how Greeks live, and it's not just the diet. It's the pace of life on the islands. People take their time and are not in a hurry. Meals are long and enjoyable, with conversations that have meaning. The Mediterranean lifestyle is built on connection, family, friends, neighbors, and community. And while it may sound romantic, this is also practical. Retirees often report feeling healthier and happier than they did back home. In fact, studies from the University of Athens have linked traditional Greek diets and social habits to longer life expectancy and lower rates of depression among seniors. In other words, living slower might actually help you live longer. I like that, and want to enjoy my retirement, not rush around like I did when working. Now let's talk about something that sounds complicated, but isn't. How to stay long-term in Greece. If you're from the US, you can visit Greece for 90 days, visa-free as a tourist. That's your short stay. In fact, I highly recommend doing just that. Watch my video, linked in the comments and above, on how to stay long-term in a country before you move. You can see what area you like, meet locals, and determine if Greece is a good fit. Once you have decided to move to Greece, the real option is called the Greek Financially Independent Person Visa. This is often just called the retirement visa. Here's what it requires. You will need proof of income from pensions, investments, or savings. This is around $2,000 per month for one person or $2,400 a month for a couple. You'll need a background check and a clean criminal record. Since you're not a permanent resident yet, you'll need your own health insurance covering you while in Greece. Once approved, you receive a 2-year residence permit, renewable as long as you still meet the income and insurance requirements. After 5 years, you can apply for permanent residency and eventually citizenship if you wish. This visa doesn't allow you to work locally. However, you're retired. So, for retirees like you with income from abroad being deposited monthly, that's not an issue. So, let's talk about that healthcare. Healthcare in Greece is both affordable and competent, a huge advantage for retirees. There's a public healthcare system called the EOPYY. It's available to residents who contribute to the national system. However, many expats choose private healthcare, not because it's expensive, but because it's so accessible. Private hospital visits or specialist appointments can cost between $40 and $60. And many doctors speak English, especially in larger cities like Athens or Thessaloniki. Prescription medications are also far cheaper than in the United States, sometimes a third of the price. Many retirees use international health insurance, companies like Cigna Global or Allianz, which can cost $150 to $300 a month, depending on age and coverage. In short, healthcare won't drain your retirement savings here. It will probably save them. So, let's say you decide to move to Greece and want to buy a house. Well, property across Greece is still surprisingly affordable compared to most of Europe. Also, unlike in many countries, foreigners can buy property freely. In coastal towns or smaller islands, you can find modest homes for $80,000 to $150,000. For anyone thinking about buying near the water in Greece, seaside apartments can start around $200,000, usually for a space between 650 and 850 square feet. If you're looking for a true sea view or a newer building, expect prices closer to $250,000 to $300,000, with premium waterfront properties going well beyond that. Finally, you can easily find rentals from $400 to $800 per month, depending on region. Just so you know, for purchases over $250,000, Greece offers a golden visa, granting residency for you and your family. That's a major advantage for retirees looking to secure long-term status while investing in a home they can truly call their own. So, what about the language? You don't need to be fluent in Greek to live here, though locals love it when you try. English is widely spoken in cities and tourist areas, and communities are famously friendly toward foreigners. What might surprise you most is how quickly you'll be invited in, to a meal, a conversation, or even a celebration. Greek culture thrives on hospitality. Philoxenia, literally love of strangers. Electricity and internet are reliable, though some rural islands may experience occasional outages. It's a modern country with an ancient soul, and that combination is exactly what makes it magnetic. At some point in this research, the spreadsheets stop mattering. You can compare healthcare costs, property prices, or visa forms all day. But the real question is simpler. What kind of life do you want to wake up to? In Greece, the answer is tangible. It's in the smell of oregano carried on the wind. It's in the sound of church bells at dusk. It's in neighbors who wave without asking what you do, because here, who you are is enough. That's what Greece offers, not just an affordable retirement, but a meaningful one. For many Americans considering Greece, staying connected to home is surprisingly simple. From Athens International Airport, there are direct flights year-round to major U.S. cities like New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia, with seasonal routes to Los Angeles and Boston. A non-stop flight from Athens to New York takes about 10 to 11 hours, while flights to Chicago run closer to 11 and a half, and Los Angeles, when available, around 13 hours. Round-trip fares typically range from $700 to $1,100, though winter deals often drop lower. Daily departures and multiple airline options, United, Delta, American, and Emirates among them, make it easy for retirees to visit family or welcome friends from back home. Living in Greece doesn't mean being far away. It means being beautifully positioned between two worlds, with home just a flight away. All that said, Greece isn't for everyone. If you need constant motion, convenience, and variety, it may feel too quiet. But for those who crave simplicity, authenticity, and peace, it feels like coming home. Whether it's a cafe in Crete, an olive grove in the Peloponnese, or a quiet home on Antikythera, life here isn't measured by what you have, but by how you live. And maybe that's the real secret. Greece doesn't just offer retirement. It offers renewal. If this spoke to you, watch the next video popping up, 10 stunning islands ready to pay you for a life of paradise. Because Greece might be the beginning, but it's far from the only place calling your name.